Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm just going to share a really profound awareness point that I think everybody in the world should have. It's very important. I'm sharing this in this video literally because I've had this conversation with 3 different people today, and they've all basically said variations of the same things. And I just think this is a really profound awareness point that helps us to not just sort of end this comparison type thing that we can fall into as human beings with others. But this is also very important when it comes to our romantic relationships or relationships in general. And it has to do with our personality needs. So I'm just going to go through a few core things about this because I've recognized, like, oh my goodness, everybody should have access to this one piece of awareness. And it's not the most profound thing in the world, but it's definitely very important to know. And I think it just is a healthy perceptual shift for anybody who's listening to this video. And so I just wanted to share it. So first and foremost, we all have a subconscious set of personality needs. And these needs are basically like the priorities that are driving our subconscious mind. And they're driving our decisions, our behavior. They have an impact on our emotional state. They have an impact on our thinking, the way that we think, the thought patterns we have. And they are basically running our lives whether we're aware of it or not. And the reason that this is so important to know is that we spend a lot of time going through life basically comparing apples to oranges. We spend a lot of time being like, oh, I should be more like this. And the this that we're comparing ourselves to is an individual with a totally different set of governing subconscious priorities that are running their lives, and it's an unjust comparison. So I'll give you an example of this, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what your personality needs are, just at a high level, and then some tools or some awarenesses for where we can run into problems and what to do with them. So let's say, for example, that this is a conversation I was having with somebody not that long ago. He was saying to me, I should be further ahead in my career. And when we looked at his personality needs, they were like travel and exploration, spirituality, social connection, and romantic relationships. And in these areas of his life, he was doing really well. And then he was comparing himself to people in his working environment around him. And most of their personality needs were like career growth, wealth building, security, achievement. And so like when we compare ourselves to individuals with a different subconscious set of personality needs, it can be really painful. And I've seen individuals doing this in a family context where a lot of their family has a certain structure of personality needs and they have something a little bit different. And I've seen people do this in a working environment. I've seen people do this in relationships. Sometimes we'll go like this. We can be guilty of this ourselves, or we can receive this from other people, and that can be really painful, and it can make us feel like we're misunderstood. It can be like this. One partner, let's pretend one partner is anxious and one person's, let's say, dismissive avoidant. The anxious partner might go, relationships should always come first. And I only want to be with somebody who has relationships come first and that's their highest priority. And for somebody with a different set of subconscious patterns, that can feel suffocating if like maybe they have a higher need for independence and autonomy. And the thing is, neither is right or wrong. It's about deeply understanding our own personality needs at the subconscious level, our own drivers, and then being able to make compromises for each other's needs and meet each other halfway and understand where each other are coming from. But when we get into a space where we're like, oh my gosh, this is what a relationship's supposed to be like, and I should subordinate my needs to this person's, we can fall into this trap of like giving parts of ourselves away to please somebody else because we didn't know what our personality needs were and how to get in alignment with them. So it is so important. And just as painful is if we start running our lives comparing ourselves to individuals with a different set of personality needs, or even just from the injected set of personality needs that the environment that we grow up in or that we live within might seem to sort of push on to us. So for example, you might be somebody who like values relationships more than anything else, but you live in an environment, maybe in the Western world, that says career. Maybe you live in like a big cosmopolitan city and it's like push and drive and succeed, and that's pushed on you from everywhere. And so we want to be able to recognize and identify these authentic coordinates of ourself, of our personality, and we want to pay respects to them, and we want to work to thrive and align ourselves with those areas and not compare ourselves to individuals with different personality needs. And when we can do this, we are actually most likely to be successful anyways, because what we have is our conscious mind's goals or intentions working alongside our subconscious mind's personality needs. And when there's this sort of form of cognitive resonance happening between your conscious mind and subconscious mind working together, we are the most likely to be successful in that arena. Because what we have in opposition to that is our conscious mind's like, we want to, make more money. And your subconscious mind's like, that takes time away from traveling and spirituality and social time and these things I truly value. And you might feel like you're sort of at war in these parts of yourself. And so we have to discover what our personality needs are. I can tell you so many different things about personality needs. I'll probably make another follow-up video on this that goes into a little bit more detail about personality needs. But the message of this video is for you to recognize recognize who you are doesn't and can't be effectively compared to other people with a different set of priorities governing their subconscious mind, and that comparison is futile, if not damaging and painful. And who you think you should be doesn't have to be the person that your partner wants you to be. It's okay to have your carved out sense of self and your own boundaries and your own interests and priorities, and to love those fully and show up for those fully, and then to find compromises with your partner and to respect theirs at the same time. Sometimes we can put other people in boxes. We can go, you should want to spend more time in the romantic relationship. You should. And we can create all these expectations from our own subconscious set of personality needs, or even worse, we can go like this. We can go, let's pretend that my highest personality need is romantic relationships, and then social connection, and then emotional connection. So obviously I'm coming, if that's my patterning, from this very people-oriented space. And if I come from that space, and because human beings, we naturally project from our own perception. So if I'm coming from this space, I'm assuming that everybody shares the same set of personality needs and priorities as I do. Then when I see somebody not valuing those things first, maybe they take time to themselves, or they want to go on a trip on their own, or they want to do something that's independent, that I'm going to take that a lot more personally, unless I'm doing work, right? Like unless I'm doing self-work, because I'm going to go, what? I wouldn't want to do that. So for that person to do that, they must really not care about me. Because for me to want to go on a trip alone and not invite that person, I must really not care about that person. And so because we project from our own perception, if we're not aware that we all have individual sets of personality needs that govern our behavior, then we can so fall into a painful trap of getting stuck in this loop. So I just want that to be out there and really clear, because it's important for us to recognize that comparison point that's very unjust. So this was a quick video. I did this sort of on the fly here, and I can make follow-up videos if you guys want this. I also have a full course on this in great detail in the Personal Development School that I highly recommend. It'll impact your relationships, your behavior, how you set your goals, 1,000,001 different things. But thank you so much for watching this, and I can share more. Let me know if you want more stuff in the comments. Okay, thanks.